You have big dreams. You know exactly what you should be doing, and yet you don't do it. Instead, you scroll, you watch, you tell yourself you'll start tomorrow. And tomorrow arrives and the cycle repeats. That guilt builds. Days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, and eventually you stop calling it a phase and start calling it a personality. You label yourself lazy. You accept it. And the goals from last year show up again at the start of the next one. Here's what nobody told you. Discipline is not a personality trait. It is not something you either have or you don't. It is a skill. And like every skill, it starts at level 0, and it can be leveled up. Today we are going to break down exactly how to build discipline when you feel lazy. Not by pushing harder, not by chasing motivation, but by understanding what is actually happening inside your brain when you can't make yourself act, and building a system that works regardless of how you feel. Let's start with why it's so hard in the first place. Every technological advancement in modern society has conditioned your brain to crave comfort and avoid discomfort. Hungry? Food arrives in minutes. Want the feeling of progress? Video games give you that. Your brain is not broken. It is responding exactly as designed, seeking the path of least resistance. The problem is that everything worth building sits on the other side of discomfort. There is also a physics concept that explains procrastination better than any motivational video ever has. Inertia. Newton's first law states that objects at rest tend to stay at rest, and objects in motion tend to stay in motion. This applies to you just as much as it applies to physical objects. Getting started on any task requires an initial push of energy to overcome that resting state. And here's the trap. We make that initial push enormous in our minds. We think about the entire mountain instead of the first step. So instead of pushing, we avoid. We distract ourselves with whatever is easier, and the task never gets started. The fix is not more willpower. The fix is making that initial push as small as possible. Now here is something most people don't know about the brain. There is a region called the anterior mid-cingulate cortex, the part of your brain that controls willpower and your ability to pursue long-term goals. Research has shown that this region is physically larger in people with higher self-discipline and smaller in people who struggle with it. But here is what matters. You can grow it. The way you grow it is by doing things you don't want to do. Every time you face resistance and act anyway, you are literally building the physical structure of discipline inside your brain. It is not a metaphor. The work you do on yourself is measurable. So why do you feel lazy? What most people call laziness is almost never laziness. It is one of 3 things. Unclear direction. Your brain has no specific target, so it defaults to nothing. Low energy, poor sleep, poor nutrition, no movement produce a state that feels identical to not wanting to do anything. And resistance to discomfort, the brain's built-in signal to stop before something hard begins. When you know which one is running, you stop fighting the wrong enemy. Here is how you build the system. Step 1, start at level 1, not level 100. This is the most common mistake. People who haven't made their bed in a week try to commit to 8 hours of deep work and a 5 a.m. run. That is trying to fight a level 100 boss when you are level 1. You will lose. Every time. The way you level up discipline is by facing small resistance and winning, doing the dishes when you don't want to, making your bed when you would rather not, cleaning your space when it's easier to leave it. These small moments happen constantly throughout the day, which means you have constant opportunities to build. Small disciplines repeated daily create the foundation that bigger disciplines are built on. How you do small things is how you do everything. Set non-negotiables, minimums you commit to every single day and small enough that you can almost always hit them. Work out at least 3 times this week. Do at least 30 minutes of focused work daily. Start there. When those feel easy, raise the bar. Build the skill before you demand the performance. Step 2, break inertia by reducing the stakes. The hardest part of every task is always the start, so make starting almost impossibly small. Not write a chapter, write 1 sentence. Not a full workout. Put on your shoes and move for 2 minutes. Not finish the project or open the document. This is the 2-minute rule. Tell yourself you will work on something for just 2 minutes, then stop if you want. What happens almost every time is that once you are in motion, you stay in motion, because objects in motion stay in motion. The first push is the only hard part. After that, the momentum carries you. Make the push small. Get in motion. Let physics do the rest. Step 3. Design your environment. Discipline is not about resisting temptation through willpower. It is about removing temptation from the environment entirely. The person who leaves their phone in another room is not more disciplined than you. Their environment is doing the work. Your environment is either working for your goals or against them. There is no neutral setting. Every notification, every open tab, every object in your space is either pulling you toward action or away from it. Arrange accordingly. Step 4. Do the hard thing first. Think of your morning like a breakfast buffet. You start with plain oatmeal. Not exciting, but solid. Then you spot the syrup-drenched pancakes and dig in. Now the oatmeal feels impossible to go back to. That is exactly what happens when you open social media before you do any real work. The easy stimulation makes everything productive feel unbearable by comparison. Do the hard thing first. Start the day with resistance and everything after it feels easier by comparison. You are building your tolerance for difficulty from the first hour. Step 5. Anchor to identity. Behavior follows identity. Write down what the disciplined version of you looks like. What do they eat? How do they start their morning? How do they respond when they don't feel like it? Then make every decision from that identity. Not I am trying to be disciplined. I am someone who does the work regardless of how I feel. Every time you act despite the resistance, you cast a vote for that version of yourself. Stack enough votes, the identity changes. And once the identity changes, the behavior becomes automatic. Step 6, never miss twice. You will miss days. That is not failure. That is being human. 1 missed day is a pause. 2 missed days in a row is the beginning of a new habit. The habit of not doing it. 1 rule, you are allowed to miss once. Never twice in a row. This single rule preserves more long-term consistency than any motivation strategy ever written. Here is the final reframe. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. If you genuinely care about your future self, the version of you that is healthy, financially free, proud of what they built, then doing the hard thing today is the most loving thing you can do for that person. You will never regret doing the difficult task. You will always regret avoiding it. The feeling of laziness will still show up. The resistance will still be there. The difference between the people who build something and the people who don't, that one group stops feeling it, it's that one group stopped waiting for it to go away before they act. Build the system, start small, break inertia, design your environment, do hard things first, anchor to identity, never miss twice. You don't need to feel disciplined to be disciplined. You just need a structure that works on the days you don't. If this gave you something to work with, the next video goes deeper into the exact daily structure high performers use to protect their focus and output. See you there.